Hello, everybody. This is Duncan Fisher. You know what real love is? I do. And that's why I'm Duncan Fisher, the voice of this cruddy planet known as Solaris 7. Real love was that time that my third ex-wife didn't get my beach house because my guy was able to prove she cheated on me before I cheated on her. Score one for justice, eh? No, real love is that time that my only way home after a night of drinking was draped over the shoulders of a Russell-Huggian street lady named Bulga. Oh, she didn't charge me mileage, and she would have been totally right to do so. I never did find my car the next day. But no. Seriously, folks, I do know what real love is. Despite what Mrs. Christine Ennerly, wife of the Solaris 7 Games Commissioner, accused me of during our secret affair. I totally kept our secret, Christine, and I'm never telling anybody. Anybody! I promise. You see that mech on the wall over there? Well, no, I guess you can't, but I see it. Kind of. She was mine. Oh, and she was my true love. Poor old girl. I didn't treat her right. Oh, you didn't let me down, baby. I let you down. I'm Duncan Fisher, and you're listening to me because I'm talking. I might need to. I think I need. This has been the Duncan Fisher Minute.
No Guts, No Galaxy is recorded in front of a live studio audience. This is an adult podcast containing adult language. Consider yourself warned. Live from the Outreach Studios around the world, this is a No Guts, No Galaxy podcast. And now, your host, Phil, a.k.a. Sean Lang.
Welcome to the No Guts, No Galaxy podcast number 77. My name is Phil, and I'm your host. It is June 12th, 2013, and my shout-out, it's going to go to the Portland Growler Company, specifically to these guys, and for one reason, they sent me and Darren some growlers, custom-made with some graphics, and we'll post this link in for you for the picture, and I just want to say thank you again, guys, for doing that. That is awesome, and yeah, I was totally blown away. It's like 64 ounces, it's gigantic, and of course, mine has the Marauder on it, and Darren's has the Archer, so freaking sweet.
So yeah, definitely awesome. Makes me want to find some moonshine to stick in mine, and also I want to play in a hillbilly band now and play the jugs.
Is that what you...
Yes. My name is Darren, and also known as Bombadil, and my shout out today goes to Garth, who is a little bit under the weather. He's not feeling so well, so he won't be with us today. Garth, I hope you feel better soon, buddy. And also to Apostle and Prophet, my friends down in Southern California, and towards the gathering that we will hopefully be having later this summer, some tabletop. I have been getting the emails from everybody that is interested. I'm keeping your emails safely stored so that when we do get some more information, I can contact you guys and let you know what's going on. So thank you all for that, and more info coming soon.
All right, Brandon, who do you have?
Hello, this is Brandon, also known as Catcher Kill, and tonight my shoutouts are going to MechSpecs, MWOG, and Aces because we're always recruiting.
Whore.
Yeah, I'm not going to deny that.
All right, Laura, what about you?
Hey guys, this is Laura, aka Baby Wolf, and my shout out tonight goes to my shield brother Tig at the Shield Wall of Rosselhog for an amazing pulled pork recipe.
Awesome. George?
My shout out is going to go to the game Dying Light, which has premiered at E3 just this week. It's a zombie game, but with running, doing like parkour moves and stuff. And yes, I have been working on this.
And of course, welcome to all of our live studio audience members. It looks like more and more people are streaming in. And of course, to all of our new listeners, wherever you are in the world, hopefully you enjoyed tonight's show. And we ask, hey, if you like what we're doing with everything from comics to YouTube videos to podcasts to Twitch events to, oh my gosh, it keeps going on. Hey, there's a tip jar on our right side of our website. Head over there and show us some love. We'd appreciate it. Thanks.
Doing a little shopping online, maybe Amazon or Newegg or Tiger Direct? If so, help support the show while shopping for cool stuff online by clicking on the Amazon, Newegg, and Tiger Direct buttons on our website. Over there on the right side, scroll down a little bit, you'll see them. Won't add anything to your charge, but it gives NGNG a little kickback. It's a great way to support everything we do if you don't want to or cannot donate directly.
And just a quick note too, we've had a few people inquire, and this is one thing that we've always sort of had to fight, but is the release of the podcast. I just want to give a quick acknowledgement to Max, of course, our audio engineer, who does an amazing job. But hey, real life comes up, and this guy's doing it for free. And one of the things we are moving towards is actually setting him up on a contract to be able to pay him for his services. So again, we ask you, hey, if you have the ability, go donate, help out with that, because we do want to help these guys because they're doing an amazing job, and to kick back to them. And that's our whole goal here is to they're helping us and we're helping them. So if you can, head over there and do that. And
that also paying him translates into quicker turnaround, so it'll be a win-win.
Mm-hmm. And today's Catalyst Game Lab sponsorship giveaway, if week 6 is another TRO 3039, check this out. Make sure to head over there and enter. And I just want to give a quick shout out to the individual who won week 5. I sent him an email. He's already responded, so I will get that in the mail tomorrow. So check this out. All right, and we're going to be moving on to sort of a discussion tonight with you guys out in the audience. We really like these. I like these, at least, so we're doing it. So I don't care what Darren says. He thinks you're all evil. No, not really.
I hate him. I don't want to hear any of his voices.
But anyways, I just want to give you guys some topics to think about. And, I will lead one of these, and specifically, anyways, I'll get into that. So first off, I guess, here's some topics to think about. BattleTech movie, who would you want as the director? What year? What timeline? We're going to be talking a little bit later about the clan invasion, and I had something I wanted to bring to your guys' attention and get your guys' feedback. Here's another topic you guys can talk about. Mechwarrior online right now. Is high alpha damage, is it a problem, and how do you guys see it being fixed? We've got characters and novels that you didn't like and why. I've got a few right off the top of my head. I could strangle a few. And did the technology in BattleTech in the novels advance too quickly? What are your thoughts? Those are just a few off the top of my head, but we're just going to go ahead and open it up. And what you guys do is X up, and we'll have Boo call on you, and we'll go from there. So, yeah, here we go.
I like the idea of Woody Allen directing the BattleTech movie.
All right, so right now, if you guys have any questions, any topics that you want to talk about specifically, X up, Boo's going to call on you, and we'll go from there.
Hey, we can also take questions from our host, so if anybody has something they want to discuss, then speak up, but it looks like we have someone there.
I want to know who Phil wants to strangle.
Me.
Most?
Every day.
All right, first up, we've got Nether Dawn. Go to unmute and ask away.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, so the question I have is we've seen the inclusion of UAV and seismic sensor, and to me that's how information warfare can be integrated to the game, but I feel like now that the seismic sensor is too powerful. Do you think they should rebalance that, or do you think they should just add something else that can counter that, such as like a decoy that creates quakes at somewhere else?
This is actually a really good question, because we were just talking about this this past week.
And we talked about implementation and then countering that, and why put it in the first place if you're just going to make a counter. We are always talking about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, because the way I look at it is it got implemented, right? Lights, for me, if you look at MWO's pillar, community pillars and pillar warfare, the information is a huge thing. And we all talk about light mechs. Right now, light mechs sort of get shafted on with the seismic sensor, because even if you have ECM and you're trying to be sneaky, you can't. And I feel like seismic sensor needs touched on, whether it's directional I don't know, just an idea. Whether it's tuned down as far as its range is too far right now, because I feel like you can't sneak up on anybody who doesn't have it. Now, that being said, not everybody carries it, surprisingly enough. But for me, with the UAV, I love the UAV. I don't use it. Darren does. I always ask him to pop it, and I feel like I need to utilize that more. But information, like knowing where they are, is a huge part. But for me, seismic sensor it's a little bit OP right now. And I feel like if you don't have it, you're at a severe disadvantage. And when you do, or I should say, you're at no more disadvantage than you were before, other than the fact that someone who has it knows exactly where you are and you have no idea where they are. So
what we're seeing as a result is people, like, one side crowding behind a rock, the other side crowding behind their cover, and nobody's coming forward because everybody knows exactly where everybody is. You can see who has seismic sensor based on their movement. I do like the idea of scaling it. Maybe the lighter mechs leave less of a signature. Maybe they have to be super close before you reach them. The assaults.
What about the pings? The time when you get the pings? How about you slow that down so it's not, every second? I mean, okay, so to open up to you guys out there in the audience, what do you guys think? Do you have any?
Well, Netherdawn, what do you think? Do you have a response? Do you have a feeling?
Yeah, what do you guys think?
It is way too powerful. It makes, cause personally I like playing a lot of light mechs that I don't like taking hits, so I like going from an angle that they won't expect, like getting behind them from the side, then getting out there before they notice I'm there. But with seismic sensor nowadays, it's almost impossible to do that. So I think they at least need to reduce the range and maybe with the dot you see on the map, maybe not make it so specific. Maybe make it like there's some general movement here, but you're not sure where exactly it is.
Yeah, so maybe you slow down the amount of times it pings as well. Like, it's not a pinpoint accurate. It's sort of a general direction. Like, it just sort of highlights a larger circle, but you don't know exactly. Like, oh, well, something's on your 6, but you don't know necessarily. Because, like, right now, you can go to, like, oh, well, hey, he's at the top of the ridge near the drop ship. He's actually behind the drop ship. You can be so pinpoint accurate right now that it's...
The feedback, though, I'm getting from everybody is that everybody that's using it loves it, obviously. But at the same time, everybody that's using it agrees that it's probably a little bit OP.
What about increasing the general, seismic activity on certain maps so it's not as universally useful?
Well, what I was thinking, too, is they talked about, modules being counter, to where you could put a UAV to where it creates, or not a UAV, you could put a module on to where it creates randomized, on your enemy sensors, it creates random, pings for seismic and stuff like that. And so you can imagine a light mech it's information warfare, electronic warfare at that time. It's sort of like ECM, but in another regards of, instead of it just being, shutting down these systems, it's saying, hey, if they have these systems, it's going to play with them a little bit more. But we had someone, Pericles, go ahead.
Yeah,
do you have some opinion on this?
I was going to say maybe they should implement it for lights only, because, it is a scouting tool. So, not really, well, I'd say nerf the ping a little, but... just limit it to light mechs. Like, I pilot lights and I pilot mediums, and honestly, I'm a medium.
But is it supposed to be only for scouts? I don't think that's the point. I think it's a module that's for everything, but how does it benefit a light over an assault, right?
Right. Well, maybe you could add more, like if it's on a light mech, there's certain, I wouldn't know how they would do it, but they would add more functionality to it if it's on a light mech over, let's say, an assault mech or something.
Could make it so where the pings happen a little bit quicker. I feel like right now with seismic is you're getting immediate feedback instantaneously on this. Right, where the mech's going if you have a ping on him. You slow that down to where it's only happening every 2 seconds, 3 seconds. You may see a ping, but when you look up, he's already gone around the corner or on your flank, and it's sort of like it should be used as a tool and not a go-to for everything, and it solves everything. So I feel like they could do pings on a quicker base based on a weight class, but then again, you don't want to make it so that it just creates a light mech. You don't want to overbalance it. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to just make.
Zolan, you had a comment?
Yeah, I was just thinking, what if you guys had, your mech interferes with that ability?
Yeah, you're talking about a counter.
Yeah, I think if you had another module that they can easily come down the road. Now, one thing about the UAVs too, you can shoot them down. I haven't seen a whole lot of people do that though. I don't know if it's they just don't look up.
Fine, that's why.
No, I saw one. It was on Twitch event. I looked up and I shot it down.
If you're looking up, I'm going to call you on not paying
I don't
attention
see
to
them
the
very much. I honestly, I don't see them very much. And for me, I think they're so powerful. Like when you drop one, when we're doing Twitch events, I'm like, oh shit, okay. Hey, we know exactly where they are. And
but it has limited time. And so,
yes.
You know,
But all right, well, hey, good question, good topic. I think they do need to be touched on, whether it's a directional, whether you slow down the pings, the information, whether you make weight class versions of it. I feel like they could do a lot with it. I do like it though, and I like the idea to where you could have counter, to it, to where they add another module that can just play havoc with someone says seismic and oh shit, I don't know where these people are. I mean, imagine if you look down and all of a sudden you see targets to your rear or something and they're really not there, but it's going to take your focus away. So I think it could be cool.
I agree.
I like the idea of deployable decoys. I think that'd be a really cool role for light mechs to
Isn't
flank
that what
the
I am
enemy
every
and
match?
then drop them down like little seismic mines.
Like a thumper, like Dune.
I am a deployable decoy.
As opposed to it being physically attached to the mech and where your actual mech is moving. Something that you can flank the enemy with and leave behind. That would be really cool to see.
All right, very cool. All right, moving on to next topic. Let's go ahead and do it.
Kalos,
if you guys...
do you have a new topic or were you going to respond?
Actually, I had a new topic. I was going to ask about the host state rewind. That I've noticed that I can aim straight at the mech and hit him, and I can still lead the mech and hit him. I wondered if it's actually in my best interest as a more advanced player to actually lead a mech anyway and not rely on host state rewind to get a hit.
What weapons are we talking about?
Primarily like medium lasers, that sort of thing. Is it something you've noticed that you don't have to be precision accurate with a laser and still make a hit?
That's what I was just going to ask. Is anybody else noticing this? And is precision accuracy still viable? I mean, are you still able to hit what you're aiming for?
I've noticed personally that I think it's just how the weapon acts. For instance, with the laser, I can move that laser because it has a duration. So if I don't hit pinpoint, like when I'm aiming, I can move it over, so you can slowly adjust, where something like ballistics or even PPCs, how they are, you don't have that window of opportunity, right? You fire and you miss, so you got to aim a little bit. So I've noticed recently with ballistics, and just with ballistics primarily, I've seen a lot of like mishits. Now, there could be a lot of reasons. Networking issues, obviously, host state rewind and stuff like that. So I'm not sure, I don't know if the player was lagging or server or something like that. But I have noticed that with some ballistics, PPCs and AC-10s, like I've hit a target and no registration. So obviously, I would like more info to seeing like, hey, from PGI, like, hey, what are you guys doing? Obviously, it's a continued thing to where you guys are working on it, but...
And actually, about the hitting a guy and not getting a register, I wonder if that's because you're simultaneously hitting them with multiple weapons. The server registers one, and the others are misses. Because if I stagger them out, I seem to get hits more consistently. If I do one, and if I chain fire rather than
now, granted, I will go out on a limb and say, the game is still so much better than it used to be. And now, sometimes we take things for granted. Like when laser host state rewind first came out, it was night and day difference, right? When you look at back in, a few months ago before any of these went in, it was a lot worse. I mean, having to lag shoot with anything, especially ballistics, was really painful, and missiles and stuff like that. Now, that being said, I've noticed ACs specifically being affected, and it would be nice to get an update on that, but
Garth always says it's something that they're working on constantly.
I mean,
it's not like a certain path.
I think it's more of a technical thing behind the scenes, and they can just be like, well, we're working on it, and it's always going to be one of those things that they're fighting. So
I think what we want to hear is that they acknowledge that there's still an issue, because I do hear people talking about this. I do see sometimes, either myself or when I'm in spectator mode, people shooting the ground but still getting hits. So there's obviously some issues still.
Haven't they already acknowledged that?
Pretty much, yeah. But continue to acknowledge it so that appeases everybody who's worrying that they're okay with it now or whatever.
So do you guys actually lead with your laser still, trying not to make host state rewind work for you?
No, I don't. No, I don't. I just put it on target. Yeah, no.
Because I find myself doing it because I'm always afraid that the guy that's dead that's watching me is going to be seeing me missing. It's embarrassing.
Don't worry about
Well, I have noticed when you're spectating someone, I think you're actually... I'd have to get confirmation on this, but have you ever noticed when you're spectating someone, it seems like they miss quite a bit?
Is it your own? Yeah.
Yeah, what I
Well,
think what's
kinda
happening...
think the spectating thing is actually more like what the server is, because you're a third party. The guy shoots, he gets a hit, his crosshair turns red, so you know he got a hit, but you didn't.
Yeah.
You saw the shot miss, so you
I
saw
think
host
it's-
state rewind working.
Yeah, I think what you're seeing is the system behind the scenes of basically saying, yeah, the player... Yeah, I think there's a disconnect, whether it's a slight delay or you're basically seeing one end of the host state rewind. Because I've noticed that I'm like, holy crap, man, these people are like horrible, and then like they're not though. They're getting hits, they're doing damage, and I'm like, oh, okay. So, yeah, that's definitely interesting. I think because you're switching over to them, like Darren Dyrus Nice said, he's like, I wonder what the hell the guy is doing, you know. So,
that
good
happens
question. You know, obviously with host state rewind with the missiles, I haven't noticed a difference per se. I guess I'm just so used to, because they have a travel time, I'm so used to...
Well, that and they have a shotgun spread, so even if you hit one, you get some feedback. You don't know if you hit them with all of them or not. I mean, really.
It's not like the autocannons when host state rewind was like... That used to be painful, and that's why I used to not use ACs very much, you know. It's because it was just like, oh my god, like... I have no idea where I need to aim ahead or whatever, but it's a good question, Kalos, and hopefully we'll actually touch base with Garth about this, because you know, it is obviously an ongoing thing. I don't think there is ever like it'll be 100% fixed, or maybe it will be. I don't know, but
yeah, I just want to ask him if I should still lead a target, because I know host state rewind's there and it works, but is it in my best interest to lead him anyway?
Yeah, I think there's so many variables, you know, someone's where they're out in the world, their ping, their connection, and some things just, no matter what system you have in place, are affected by those things. But good question, Kalos. All right, what's the next topic? Boo, who's up next? Who's got next?
I do believe Moonsword would.
Moonsword, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hello, sir.
I actually wanted to talk a bit about the host state rewind as well, because I do have very high pings.
So what is your experience then?
Well, my experience is I can see that I'm hitting the target on my screen, yet everyone who's been spectating me is going, but you're trailing behind a long way.
Yeah. I mean, you Aussies, you're fucked no matter what with any game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I think this is a good point to say why and how it's so important for there to be regional servers. And I know a lot of people don't understand the full, full reason why. And there's more to it just than networking. And the reason being is when the community starts gearing up for community warfare, what's going to happen is, and of course this is total speculation, but they have stated a few things, and it's just like any game. The North American servers, when community warfare kicks off, you'll have the planetary battles are going to happen at a time frame. So let's just say they're from 7 o'clock at night to 11 o'clock Eastern. So it gives everyone a chance to be able to defend or attack in those time frames. You can't just have it anytime, any place, anywhere.
And World of Tanks.
Now, my point is, if you don't have regional servers, basically it screws everyone outside the US time zone. And so, for everyone who's like, oh, no regional servers, blah, blah, blah. Well, it screws the guys in Europe and Australia, because now they're having to fight on primetime US time zone, which sometimes is not possible. Yeah, we should expect them to wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning and fight.
Well, so there's certainly no game that we know of that have rates on a way like that.
I know,
that
right?
Happens to be extremely successful.
But they also battle a different game design. It's a persistent game in Eve. No, in Eve. And they also have been battling the whole system in Eve. Now they sort of created a time frame of 12 hours to reinforcement. So basically, when you attack someone, said item would come out of reinforce and could be destroyed, but it's in a 12-hour time zone, or 12-hour left or right, so it didn't benefit anyone better than the other. But now with this, I feel like this is a big thing for people to understand, is to make it fair for anybody outside the US, you have to have regional servers. Now, that being said, what are we going to see with PGI implementing community warfare? I do not think you're going to see everyone on the same map, if you will. So EU, and if they do like an Australian server or something like that, you guys are going to be on your own community warfare map. I don't see it working to where it's across all 3 or however many servers, which I think sucks. But
I think like World of Tanks, I believe you can go to whatever continents you want to, but some, you can choose something that's to your time zone, or if you want to fight out of your time zone. No,
not go to. What I'm saying is, if Planet X gets taken on the North American server, will not be Planet X on the Europe or Australian
universes.
Yes, it'll be set, because if you don't, like, now granted, the technical perspective behind it, I don't know how they would handle it, but when it comes down to it, if it's unbalanced because of time zones, you just can't have it. So I have a feeling that would
Moonsword, because like he just said, Australian server. Yeah, right. When does Australia ever get their own server? What my question to you is, when there are multiple servers, let's say a European and a US server, I saw somebody make a mention of this. What would you normally pick? Do you usually have better performance with the US or European?
Normally I get a lot better performance with US servers, because normally when I'm playing, my ping's in the 300s. But if I'm hitting a European server, I notice that I'm in the 400 to 500 areas most of the time.
Good God.
I feel so sorry for you guys.
Yeah, so it's a big decision. We do need more information about it, but unfortunately right now, like they've stated, there are some things that are just out of their control, and it's more or less due to the infrastructure, if you will, of the internet in some of these countries that they can't do anything, and that's why regional servers are so important. But well, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic, and this is something that I want to lead and sort of ping you guys. I was having a discussion with someone last night on Skype for a few hours, and we were talking about BattleTech and the clan invasion. Now, out of this discussion, we basically came to sort of a similar conclusion of that the clan invasion for me, it was too easy for the Inner Sphere. It felt like they weren't up against the wall yet, and being pressed to form the, Star League and get things. And I really wonder if, Catalyst Games has ever thought about, like, obviously I don't think they'll redo it, but now you guys as listeners and stuff, and readers and followers of the BattleTech lore, do you guys agree? And what I mean by this is, I felt like the clans should have hit Terra, and it would have been like a Crusader clan would have won, the Clan Wolf or Smoke Dagger or something like that. And it would have got worse to, where the Crusaders, were the ones that would, go out there and try to basically take over the Inner Sphere. And then that's like, to me, I felt like it wasn't like the Inner Sphere factions weren't up against the wall yet. And I just felt like it was all just sort of sped up, and the battle for Tukid, it just sort of, it took away from the overall reading. I mean, how do you guys feel? Is there anyone who agrees, disagrees?
I'll disagree with you, because you had Luthien be dropped with a major clan invasion. Tharkad was like one jump away. I think if the clans took another planet in their invasion line, they would have been a jump range of Tharkad. So that's like two of the major powers. And then you had Rastallag Republic, who had, 5 worlds left at the end of it?
8.
Yeah, but it wasn't like, I mean, that's what I'm saying is, like, from the looking at the overall story, the whole arcing story, what I'm saying is, like, I think it was just too easy, and I wanted to see the desperation should have drove it, like, in the current novels, like, they band together against this common enemy, the clans and stuff, but I just didn't feel the desperate nature of the entire sort of, story. Yes, FRR freaking caught it to the face, man. I mean, they were the ones, the brunt of it. I mean, that's what was. Luthien, of course, was just part of the wedge. I mean, into the Draconis Combine. Now, I don't know.
It was
I mean,
the capital.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it wasn't like if they would have taken over Luthien, Draconis Combine would have just folded up and would have been no longer.
No, yes, it would have.
Is it not?
Especially with the Draconis Combine.
Their government, the center of their commerce.
I think what's going on here...
And not just that, the center of their culture. I mean, they were such a centralized society.
Phil, you're Davion.
What I'm saying is...
Did they not reach... Yeah.
What I'm saying is, I felt like...
Enough.
Yeah, Kayla said it right. It was over too quickly, and then the clans we never really saw the clans to the sort of what they were. And I felt like that struggle of the Inner Sphere was on the brink of literally being wiped out, and then they banded together, you know, and I just felt like the clans. Anyways, I don't, you know, what do you guys think out there in the audience? X up if you got your own thoughts on this topic.
Okay, I'm gonna throw out my quick opinion here, just because it's something I've noticed. I think, Phil, one of the things is when you look at the way the whole storyline goes. To me, what you described would be perfect if this thing was being written now. If it was like a TV show or something, that sort of artistic direction for the story would be exactly right. Of the way science fiction and just programs in general are handled nowadays. They like to put everything right on the edge. But this stuff was conceived back in the 80s. Am I wrong? And so I think there was a whole different attitude. That I think that influenced a lot of why the story is the way it is.
True.
Yeah, and also, you know, hindsight. So it did happen the way it happened, whether it happened too quickly or not.
Well, I just wanted to feel. I know there's other fan-made lore and different timelines and storylines and stuff.
I think, like somebody said earlier, we just need to J.J. Abrams it. Start all over. Alternate
Make it all shiny.
Add lots of lens flare. Just
Yeah.
Now, how would you guys feel about if that? Now, obviously, a lot of people don't like the Dark Age, or you know, obviously it's changed. You know, they're implementing all this stuff. How would you guys feel if they literally just stopped? Either there was a catastrophe or something, and they started new, and maybe told the story of like Star League. No, what I'm saying is,
yes.
Would you guys be okay with that?
I'll be.
But I was trying to segue it into the BattleTech movie.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, BattleTech movie.
That's
Who would you have as a director, and what year would you pick?
And please, nobody say fucking
Michael Bay?
Yes.
Whedon?
I didn't even want to say his
Yui
name.
Bowl. Let's get.
Oh God, no!
Just get the same directors that does Resident Evil movies, right?
Oh, yes, exactly. That's the guy.
Yeah,
Or
that's
one of
the
them.
guy.
Phil,
Well-
what about you? Who do you want to see direct it?
To be honest, I think this is really tough, because I don't know the names of all the directors. I'm not like
The guy
up
that
to
did what
age.
movie?
Well, obviously,
Or the
you know, we
woman.
talk about Avatar a lot. We talk, you know, Spielberg's name was thrown out there as well. Now, granted, I was just last night again. I was talking about some of this, and like I thought the movie Super 8 was done by Spielberg, and it was actually done by J.J. Abrams. I didn't know that,
Yeah.
but James Cameron, Spielberg, I think. But what I feel like is. I would want to see the dark, the gritty, the realistic. You know, basically think of BattleTech, but in the light of like Game of Thrones. You know, to where it's real, and I think that's
Who's the
why
guy
people
that did
love
Batman's
it.
doing Superman?
Chris
Nolan.
Nolan.
Yeah, he's good at making things dark.
He's good as
Yeah, I can see
He's
that.
good.
And people talk like this.
Everybody.
I'm Batman.
In order to adapt the BattleTech movie to a modern audience, how many changes would you have to make?
Well, the same that when you're adapting the original Star Trek to a modern movie.
Put
True,
boobies in it.
people
Think how
flip-
cheese that was.
I actually don't think it'd be
Flip out
that
of
bad.
lore changes now.
Okay. Here's going to be my troll answer.
Oh boy!
Great.
Everybody sit down.
Read the forums.
George Lucas. It does Far
Oh.
County.
Oh god.
We need
Ser-
Brandon to speak up more often. This is awesome. Go ahead.
Serious answer. Gareth Evans and the Legend of Jade Phoenix trilogy.
Jade Phoenix trilogy. I could go for that, but it would introduce them to the clans. You know, at a time.
Does
But
anybody out
it's
there?
a very good way to get into their culture. I mean, the whole from birth to end. That's the entire thing.
Anyone in the audience have any opinions? Director, what time frame, how they should make the movie, etc.
There's
I think
a ton of opinions out there. Look at them.
Well,
know,
I think
speak
there
up,
could.
people.
I think there could be a lot of time frames they could do. They could do the 30-25. They could do the invasion. Obviously, like MWO is doing the clan invasion, and stuff like that. I think to me though is I wouldn't want it just to be one movie. Like I feel like they could definitely do a lot more. And obviously
It
we
would have
talked
to be
about this. Yeah, it would have to be good. And
Kalos, what do you think?
Well, I was wondering if you would, in a movie, would you want to keep the hereditary battle mech the space feudalism thing that they had before the clans. Because once the clans happened, that part seemed to disappear. I mean, you had dukes and stuff that ruled sections of the nation, but as the individual like fighters ended up being like, well, this is a sergeant instead of a knight or something like that. I always thought the older techno-feudalism thing was actually really cool. It
was cool, but I feel like when I read the novels, I don't look at it in the 80s style anymore. I do look at it, I guess, when I'm, imagining things, I look at it in a modern day perspective. And so some of those things have faded away, like I guess it's because I've grown up a little bit, I have a little bit more worldly experience and stuff. So I feel like, when it comes to that, it would just be updated. It's like looking at the artwork in the 80s of BattleTech, and then looking at like stuff like FD, Shimmering Sword, and Short Painter are doing now. I mean, that's what I would want to see. I wouldn't want to see sort of the original sort of like, I would want to see someone modernize it and bring it to something
like
that
a fast-paced, action-packed thing. And
robot jocks. What I'm just saying is art and how it's on the screen. I would expect someone to modernize it and make it so, hey, this is happening in the future, and to see that clash of technology, right? And I think that's something that's unique to BattleTech is you would have like a world where people would be starving or would live out and didn't have much technology, and here's a battle mech that like this sophisticated thing. You have a dropship coming out, like it's sort of like looking at
it's a dirty future like Firefly. If you ever watched that
just imagine the difference of Avatar, the technology difference. I mean, you obviously some of it's not like that, but what I'm saying is like there's a huge desync with technology, and yet it's so normalized, and but yet they've lost a lot of the old stuff. Anyways, I think it'd be cool. But now
there's been some suggestions that the movie should be about Solaris. My opinion on that is absolutely fucking no, because all that's going to do is bring back robot jocks. We don't need that again. It needs to be something with a storyline and in a much broader perspective.
See,
not that I wouldn't want to hear Duncan Fisher, but yeah.
Robot jocks, but good.
Well,
what
let's
if
throw
it's Duncan Fisher?
You got Pacific Rim coming out now. It does look good, but to me,
I want to see it first.
I just feel like it's like when I watched it now, cool. There's a lot of cool stuff behind it. I was watching a YouTube video on the like cockpit. They actually like built this damn thing. It's like 30 feet tall. It moves. I mean, it actually moves. The characters are strapped in. Like the actors are strapped into this thing when it's moving. Like everything. So it looked really cool. But for me, I was just thinking, wow, this is like robot jocks, just like modern. No.
It bugs me that there's two of them. It totally bugs me. I would want my own fucking mech.
I don't know. But anyways, not to harp on that. I'm going to go watch it. I look forward to it. But now,
actually, I have the answer for the reason there's two of them. It's to make a bromance movie.
Oh,
yeah, something like that.
Oh, you know what? That makes so much more sense now.
All right, so moving on to the next topic, and this is specifically, I know Alex was interested in, or Greg was interested in hearing the character in the novels you didn't like and why. And I will be first to go. Katrina Steiner. I wanted to wrangle her neck, the bitch. Growing up and reading just the manipulative, just...
From what novel and what made you pissed about
all of them, dude. Every single novel she was in, it reminded me how satisfied was what happened to her at the very end when she became a bondsman of some clan wolf, Khan at the time. Like, I was like, yes, suffer for the rest of your life, bitch. And so that's how much I don't like her.
Phil has issues.
I think there's got to be something.
Katrina Steiner was like a character in Game of Thrones instead.
It's like Cersei, right?
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
God.
Like, you admire her in some ways for her, but like
not even close, man.
You admire Cersei for any reason?
Well, no, yeah, you have to.
What?
Look at
she's an
hey,
evil,
hold on.
hateful bitch.
Holy shit! What?
But look at her character attributes. She is loyal. She's very strong. I mean, look what she has to put up with. Now, when you look at that,
she's really strong for sleeping with her brother.
Hey, now I'm not saying I like her.
Strength.
What I'm saying is, like, you can admire that characteristic. And so, as far as like Katrina, though, I sort of look at her like Cersei Lannister, I guess. I don't know. That's just me. What about you guys? What characters do you hate?
Justin Allard.
What?
Because
he's
freaking
douchebag
Allard.
Why do you say that?
Because he's a douchebag.
How? I mean, like any specific
Just like
examples?
the way he behaves in, let's say, the Warrior
He gives a
trilogy.
bad name to Asian descent.
He does that too, and Michael Stackpole did too, but
Well, the whole
discuss
point
that later.
of
But the
Justin,
character,
he was supposed to
such
be a spy.
Mary Sue.
You mean a Gary
That's
Stu?
true.
Gary
No,
Stu.
definitely a Mary Sue.
Gary Stu.
No, Mary Sue.
Wow.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Agree to disagree, boys.
See,
Yeah.
now, I personally don't hate really. I mean, any other than the obvious bad guys that you're supposed to hate or whatever. I don't really have any over emotional feelings towards any of the characters.
Now, Phil's gonna hate me for this, but I cannot
Don't you dare say
stand
Phil and Kel.
Grayson Carlisle.
Okay.
Really?
Oh,
Why?
him either.
Why do you not like Grayson?
He is the worst written, stupidest character in the entire universe.
Also, Mary Sue.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Mary
see,
Sue with no
I think
brains.
it's unfair for Laura to pipe in here, and the reason why, Laura, is you're very well
Known.
Spoken?
No. She reads a lot. Obviously, she's educated. Like,
Well read.
Yeah, and when she looks at the novels, she's not looking at them from like how we were growing up
Wait,
reading
you mean
them.
the perspective of a 12-year-old boy?
Yes, and I feel like
No,
that sort
was
of
the
takes
target
away.
audience, and for that audience, that's great. But going back to read it now, it's like, oh god.
Well,
See,
that's what I'm
that's
saying.
Like,
and
oh
so
look, he fell in
when
love
I
with a girl.
when I
on
read them
page
right now,
2.
though, when I read
Learned
them
to
right
ask
now,
a question on page 3.
no, when I read them right now, I obviously I still enjoy them and for the nostalgic purposes. But obviously now that I'm older, I do look at it in a different light. But maybe I just I almost upgrade, if you will, when I'm reading it. I don't put it down for those little flaws that it has, or a lot of
Those are
flaws.
huge flaws.
But hey, that's what you're gonna get when you read
That
these
being
novels.
said, stuff like Wolves on the Border are fantastic.
Yeah, Wolves on the Border was great. In fact, the whole Blood of Kransky trilogy is still good. A lot of the later novels were still good. It's just the really early ones have some issues. But one character in the later novels that I can't stand, and you'll also hate me for this, and I know it's going to be controversial to say, but if you thought Justin Allard was bad, Kai Allard Leal
Oh god. I have
is
so much to look forward to.
so annoying.
How is he annoying though? Like, he never comes off, he's never pompous about it, he's very humble.
I'd understand Victor, maybe.
Yeah, I can understand Victor.
Victor at least grows. Kai has an inferiority complex.
Yeah, he
throughout
grows
the
out of that.
entire...
No,
when?
he grows out of it.
When?
When he starts
Name
to
a
fall in
time.
love and realize that he is badass and that he does have the chops that his parents thought he had, etc., etc. He grows out of it.
Specifically when he's on the
Find me the
Backworlds
novel.
planet, when he's surviving and he meets, his first
that's when.
future wife, he starts to change. I think in that novel, in that experience.
Okay, then skip forward a few novels and see if he's not wrestling with the same questions, saying the same lines, being the same mope.
I don't know. I appreciate it when he blows
his BattleTech skill and his fight against Solaris. It was whether he was worthy or not to lead the Capellan, not the Capellan first, the St. Ives Compact.
All I
It was
know
just
is
one
I
thing
enjoyed.
after another. Oh, I'm not good enough, and I'm doing so many bad things, and I've all this power, but it's not enough power.
I don't know what you're. All I know is I enjoyed when he blew literally the mech from underneath and the fuselage and the cockpit off from Vlad's Timberwolf on Astronomectory. I really appreciated that with the AC-20. So that
let's move on to a new topic.
I was about to say Devlin Stone. Jeez.
There you go.
Anyways, guys, what other topics do you guys have out there? Whether it's Mechwarrior, BattleTech, any of this stuff.
You know what I want to talk about? I want to talk
What do you
about
want
the
to talk
Alpha Strike. We've been dealing with that a lot lately, and I do believe that I feel personally that the Alpha Strike needs to be nerfed in some way. I have no idea how to do that. But
okay, so when we're talking about high alpha damage here, and we're talking about MWO, we're specifically, what weapon system are we talking about necessarily? Because you don't see the Hunchback
PPCs
4P.
mostly.
Okay, so PPCs. All right, so PPCs, and we look at the characteristics. Don't look at that the Stalker or any other mech can carry X amount of them. That's not necessarily. Boating isn't a problem. It's the weapon and how it's implemented, I think, is the problem. And
well, does anybody else see anything other than the PPC? I mean, are we AC-20s? Do they fall in that category?
No, you know why you don't see 5 or 6 large laser stalkers or other mechs like they used to is because it's not instantaneous damage, high alpha to one location. You have to hold your large laser onto a specific target, specific location, and that gives the target ability to torso twist and evade the large majority of damage. Now, the reason why a lot of people complain about the PPCs is because it's a relatively easy weapon to use, doesn't take a whole lot of skill. Yes, it is heavy, it is hot, but you can pack 4 on, and obviously with the heat system and stuff like that, you can alpha, coolant, alpha, coolant, you know, like, so if PPCs are really the only weapon right now that have this issue, it's not the system that's wrong, it's the weapon and the characteristics of the weapon that I feel like need to be looked at.
Or it's the coolant that's wrong, which brings back to the entire point about coolant that I brought up when we were talking about whether or not that was going to be a good thing.
Well, no, coolant flush isn't a big issue out there. It's just the fact that even when someone's not using coolant flush, you can literally 2-shot any mech with a Stalker 6 PPC bow.
Or one-shot somebody that has a little bit of damage.
Yeah, or and so I've had a lot of discussions about this. Now, I have my own views and opinions when it comes to this, but I'm not going to say PGI, you got to do this because it's the only way. But when you look at PPCs and you read about them in the novels, the one consistent thing it talks about is PPCs are like man-made lightning. Now, one thing you read early in the novels in the Warrior Trilogy and some of the other novels is that it's a lot like a duration weapon. It's a lot like a beam, like the lasers in MWO right now. That's actually how it's described. It's not just this ballistic round that goes and has a velocity. It's more
like an electrical arc, like it's
if you will. And so I feel like they have to look at the characteristics of the PPC, and the way I look at it is the problem isn't the PPC, just as far as the problem is the PPC's characteristics, that it's a relatively fast-firing weapon, 4 seconds, but it's the fact that it can do 15 plus damage or whatever to one location, compounded with you can have 5 others along with it and basically 2-shot things. So, if you were looking at the PPC in that manner and just fixing just the PPC, turn it into a skill-based weapon, just like the lasers. Lasers are skill-based weapons, so are ACs and stuff, just because of the travel time, velocity, and stuff like that. But obviously, you don't see boating issues and everybody using, these weapons. So obviously, PPC is the issue. So look at making it.
I understand what you're saying, but keep in mind that lightning is instantaneous. So
okay, I hear you here, but
time?
Look at a good. Let me pull up a video for you to look at and take a look at this YouTube video. Now, obviously, this is District 9. It has to do when they're testing out the alien weapons and stuff. Now, I never have thought BattleTech or Mechwarrior, any Mechwarrior game, has really got PPCs correct. I've never thought that about the PPCs. I feel like it's never quite right. And the PPCs right now in MWO feel a lot like the PPCs in Mechwarrior 3. And I feel like change the characteristics of the weapon, make it a beam, make it a skill-based weapon, so you can still have 6, and you can still do 60 damage if your target isn't moving. It also solves the problem of if someone's jump jetting and shooting 6 PPCs at once when they're coming down. Now, if the weapon has a duration, even if it's like 1.5, 2 seconds, at least when you get hit by 6 of them, you have a split second to react and at least twist, so all the damage is applied to one location. So if you look at how PPC is aesthetically, how that is, that's how I would handle a PPC, and that's what I see PPCs are a problem, is it's the high alpha damage, and that they literally can 2-shot a mech, and they're not a very high skilled weapon. It doesn't take a whole lot to put your crosshairs on a target and pull the trigger. So
okay, we got a couple people that want to chime in. Pericles, you're up.
I was gonna say the latest patch notes they released, they were talking about how after 3 PPC shots, you're gonna get a heat bonus if you're alpha striking more than 3 PPCs, and that if you have, I think it's at 150% heat after you alpha, it would basically core you. So like those 6 PPC stalkers that, would fire when they're at 90% heat would basically destroy themselves as soon as they alphaed with all 6 PPCs.
Well, I think what they said is if you fire 3 in less than a half a second, if you fired your other 3 or all of your weapons in a half a second, you would get that penalty. But if you waited that half a second, you wouldn't. So is that going to solve the issue? Well, I'm going to say no to the high skilled players out there. You guys are really good. Waiting a half a second is nothing. You will fix it. So is it going to solve putting 3 PPCs on target and then waiting half a second, putting another 3 PPCs on the same target? I don't feel like that's going to fix it. Now, I do like the idea of that heat system. If you're boating, say, you want to press the line, I feel like it's going to help with all the other weapons, even medium lasers, large lasers, PPCs, or maybe if you're just running a combination of and you're pushing the heat. I feel like it's a good thing. But I still don't feel like it's solving the issue of PPCs. Like, I just don't,
Mr. Planetarian, did you have a comment? All right, well, we'll wait for him. Anybody else in the crew have anything to say about this?
Sorry, never mind. I was self-muted.
Oh, no problem.
All right, well, basically, the problem isn't necessarily just how the PPC is designed. Large lasers can be just as dangerous on big targets, and they're lighter, But the problem is they're just so effective all around, really. And I mean, we've seen specialized builds die out in these last couple of patches, mainly because map sizes have grown.
Well, look at why has the large laser boats faded to PPCs? And the main reason is obviously PPCs got the buff a few patches ago because they needed it at the time. Before Host State Rewind, they definitely needed it. But when Host State Rewind went in and the damage and speed, still increased, PPCs were just ridiculously OP. Everyone still everyone has them, and I feel like, why was that change? And I think if I look at the characteristics of the large laser compared to the PPC, obviously range is one of those factors, right? Heat's really not a factor because what they're talking about is alpha, anyways. But I feel like it's because large lasers require you to hold your target on. Like, you're not, if someone knows what they're doing and you're hitting them with that many lasers, they're going to torso twist or look, the other direction, and you're not going to do all of your damage to one location. Whereas you're not able to do that with the PPCs. Right?
Yeah, I think if you have a choice between getting hit between 6 large lasers or 6 PPCs, most people are going to pick the large lasers.
Yeah, well, that's definitely true. But it's like I said, it's a good all-around weapon. I won't deny that PPCs are easier to use, but the large laser can be a more dangerous weapon, depending on what kind of mech you're piloting, obviously, and what they are piloting. But there's also the issue, yeah, exactly. But the big issue, I would argue, is the maps, really, because we have no way of selecting specialized builds right now because of the random selection. But if we get the dropship lobby, for example, I think we could see a return of SRM-based builds, for example, since right now, if you vote streaks on like a Splatcat or the A1, for example, when you get Alpine Peaks, you're basically screwed for the entire game.
Well, like I said, I like large lasers. I use them on a lot of my builds. So, looking at 2 different weapon systems, like why take an ERPPC? It's supposed to have that extra range. It's a little bit hotter. And I just feel like the PPC in general is a problem. I mean, we saw it with the Goss Cats, Goss Frax, and the Goss got a nerf as far as the damage, and they explode. And, AC-20s, to me, the one weapon systems that are supposed to do the high alpha damage are AC-20s and Gauss rifles. That's what's supposed to hit you and do instantaneous large amounts of damage to those locations.
But thank God you can't put 6 of them on any mech.
No, but you can put 2 of them.
I don't think that there. I mean, while I agree, Phil, as far as your idea for the fix of the PPCs, making it more like an electrical arc and damage over time, I don't think that'll happen. So that means with this fix coming in. Yeah.
What I'm saying is, what other ideas? How could they? Obviously.
Well, what I'm wondering is, okay, so they're going to put this thing into the next patch, and I think we kind of know where that will play out. So it won't completely fix it. Do they just need to adjust it more? Do they need to build on to what they're doing to make it so that it is effective to the level we need?
I think it'll add to the gameplay. I think will help, but I don't think it's affecting the PPCs. Like I feel like you're still going to see 3 PPC, what was it, Monday, Tuesday, for the first few matches we had, Darren? It was Monday. We ran into assaults after assaults after assaults, and almost every single one of them had either 3 ER PPCs and a Goss, or 3 PPCs Nagast or 6 PPCs.
And when you're in a medium or a lightly armored heavy and you come around a corner, one shot, you're either
Yeah.
almost dead or you're dead. It's frustrating.
Yeah, and so obviously there's context of, matchmaking and stuff like that, but the weapon itself, it's not in line with the other weapon systems, I don't think yet. And I don't think they'll change it as far as its characteristics or how it's handled, like into a beam or something like that. That might be a little bit more difficult to do. But if they're using sort of a beam mechanic behind the system, if they take like the large laser and they modify it into like a PPC, change the particle effect and all that fun stuff, then at least it would be using the host state rewind of the lasers as well. So obviously you could adjust damage and all that fun stuff.
Another possibility is just making them significantly less pinpoint accurate. When you're talking again about lightning isn't a needle. It goes all over the place. So maybe you aim at a target and you might hit their left torso, you might hit their right leg or something like that. More of a I don't know, making it less accurate. I mean, that would obviously piss off a lot of people.
Moonsword, you got a response to this?
Yes, I do. It's actually to do with how the weapons are set up with the hard points. Because your PPC, that is not exactly designed to be a small weapon, is it?
Absolutely not.
So, what they could do instead is introduce a large bore hardpoint. So, something like the Awesome, which is designed to carry your PPCs, that's got large bore hardpoints on it.
Well, we've talked about that before, and that's like a game changer. Now you're talking about like we've talked about the different hardpoint systems of having assault and heavy and medium, and that's I said it then, and I'll go on the record. It's not going to happen. That's a game changing. That's like changing everything. And remember, the Awesome wasn't designed just to carry PPCs, and it's a translation of. That's why you have the hardpoint system, and that's like. That's why you have different variants and stuff like. I mean, like that's like saying the I was about to say rifleman. The Jaeger mech is only a support mech. Says who? There's no role. You create your role. You create that setup on a particular mech. So I just don't foresee them changing the hardpoint and like. No, I think that's way too big. Way too big of a.
It makes sense, but yeah, I agree. It's just another one of those things that's not going to happen, just like PPCs aren't going to become damage over time. Definitely a good topic. Thanks for those that piped in. I'd like to cover one more thing before we wrap for the day.
Okay, what?
Oh, nothing. I'm just saying, let's get one more thing.
Well, we do have a few things before we get off here. First, we've got, obviously, Mechwarrior Online. We've got the Assault and Conquer challenge going on. Obviously, it's 10 and 10. 10 wins Conquest, 10 wins Assault. Do you guys enjoy these out in their live stream audience? Do you guys enjoy these little things to get, free gifts? I mean, obviously, you don't have to opt in. It's just if you do it, you do it. Okay, yes, pretty much across the board.
You guys get your SoCal bullet?
More importantly, is there anybody that doesn't like them? And that's the person I want to hear from.
They're like, I just don't like him. Just not like him.
I finished mine last night. I'm happy.
I think the prizes should probably be something you can't just buy.
I think I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat here for a moment, and or tinfoil Nero helm, and say that this is a test for the achievement system.
Very possible, huh? Hey, we got somebody that doesn't like it. Alex.
Whoa.
Speak up, buddy. We want to hear from the angry
Alex
Scotsman.
is just angry, and that's why he doesn't like it.
I want to hear his voice.
I don't like it.
Any reason, or just because?
Yes, there's a reason. I don't like Conquest mode. I hate it.
Well, there's a reason.
Why should I have to play the Conquest mode?
Hey, if you want the 50 cal hangily dangly thing, you gotta do it. Suck it up. No. I think it's cool. I'd like to, obviously, I like him just for the fact that you don't have to opt in. I am, I'm wondering, say I don't go to the forums and I didn't know about it and I don't really read the home or, click on any of the, and I didn't know about the challenge, how would I know I got the item? It's, you know what I'm saying? It's not like I would be like, oh, I feel like there should be a pop-up saying, hey, dummy, you just won this because you did this. Maybe in UI 2.0 that'll happen.
You can go to your stats and look under challenges and it shows all past
ones.
But
if someone doesn't go to the forums, if they're just regular Joe Schmo, they would have no idea they just won this.
3 months later, you would go there and be like, what the hell is this?
How did I get this? I didn't buy this. Okay.
Yep.
Why is there a squirrel in my cockpit?
Another thing, the quick draw, by the way, variants have been released. If you haven't checked this out, by the way, there's been a lot of speculation, and so you have the quick draw 4G, 4H, and 5K. Now, right off the top, and obviously we're not going to get too far into this, The only difference really between the 4G and 4H is rear-facing weapons, which aren't in MWO. So, we don't know I don't know. And then obviously the 5K is all energy. It looks like, just from the picture. Now, I'm gonna tell you this because I'm gonna love it. Stock speed. Look at that. Stock speed of 81 kph. Yes, Phil will be rocking these. I am gonna love this. I don't.
It is going to be a fun mech.
And it's going to be great.
It will be something that competes a little bit with the Dragon.
And they all have jump jets too.
Yep. I kind of have a feeling I'm going to like it better than the Dragon, even though I still want to love that Dragon.
I don't like the Dragon.
Is the price point going to be the same as the Dragon?
I don't know. It's 60 tons. I mean, I bet you. I think the 5K has upgraded features like double heat sinks and stuff like that, so it may be a little bit more expensive. But
well, it depends, BB. It depends if you take it off the lot or not. I mean, once you take that Dragon off the lot, it's like half value.
Loses its value.
Yeah, once you take it off of Luthien.
You start up that engine, man. It's done. One step off.
Granted, once you take it off of Luthien, you're set.
So anyways, it'll be cool to see. Obviously this comes out next Tuesday. So stay tuned on that. We had Paul updated with a gameplay update. He talked about some of the changes we were talking about. Make sure to give that a read. It's not too lengthy, but like I said, I think it'll be a good addition. It'll be a good system to have in the game. I don't think it's going to solve the PPC boating, and I say that not PPC boating, PPC alpha strikes. I think let's get rid of boating and saying boating is negative. It's not a negative thing. It's the high amount of alpha damage that PPCs do. So let's do that. Let's see. We've got community questions. We have Ferric says, "What software do you guys use for your Twitch casts?" I actually use OBS. It is, in my opinion, more. It's a superior product compared to XSplit.
Yeah.
And it's free. It can do everything XSplit can do and better and free. Just throwing that out there.
You can do everything you can do better.
Pretty much.
We did have another question from Adam, and he says, "Are the current number of module slots available per chassis set in stone, or will there be any more changes to these?" And I'm going to ask Garth this, so I'm going to save this and make sure Adam posts up. Again, we have a community questions thread on our forums. That's where you guys go, post questions, and we'll read them on next week's podcast. So make sure to do that. And I'll ask Garth about this because I think he was referring to, like, you look at the mastered out 3L and the mastered out Commando, 3L's got 10 tons on and it has the same amount of modules. And if you maybe made some of the lighter mechs have, 4 or 5 module slots, would it give them a 1-up, to put them on equal terms? So that's what he was basically asking.
Like I was mentioning before, when we first started playing MWO, I didn't give a shit about modules. Now I'm wanting more module slots, more and more.
Let's see, a quick update on the project I'm working on for BattleTech Universe. We've got, I just posted up some mech porn, some eye candy, if you haven't checked it out. This is actually the 2D concept and some orthos we were working on, and then of course the render of the Locust. So make sure to check that out. Obviously we have more information coming in the near future. I just figured I'd give you guys something to take a look at. Mech porn's always a great thing. Make sure to follow us. Yeah, do that too.
Yeah.
Also, next week for the podcast, we will be discussing, obviously, the quick draw, what everybody thinks, because everybody will have been playing it, and what happened with the patch. So that is next week's podcast.
All right, there's a 25% off sale right now with the board game, and we got a link for you guys. You can drop that off. I think Brandon was just plugging that in. Make sure to drop that off. Make sure to go over there. And our next giveaway, speaking of which, again, is TRO 3039. You can go to our forums, enter that giveaway, and have a chance to win. And may the odds be ever in your favor. And Facebook, 3,819 likes. Hey, give us your feedback. Post up there, like us. It's a great way. We post up mech porn all the time and up-to-date information. And some of you guys are at work and you're allowed to watch Facebook, so at least you're able to get it now. And of course, I post a lot of that content on our website now, to where I wasn't able to do beforehand. So make sure to give us a like and head over to our YouTube channel as well. I've been having some issues with YouTube, and so have thousands of other people. So some people have been asking why we haven't posted up any of the Twitch events, or some YouTube's being a total
Like
douche right
being
now.
a total Katrina Steiner.
She's being a Katrina Steiner right now. So as soon as I can, I will post up the Twitch events and other videos. They've had a lot of problems behind the scenes. I know Brandon was having some with his channel as well. Speaking of Twitch, make sure to head over to NGNG TV. We've got multiple different streamers over there. We just brought on a new guy, Ed Meister. And I just want to say again, welcome, Ed. It's great to have you on the team over at NGNG TV. And of course, head over there. Make sure to hit follow. That way you guys get email notifications. Those guys are doing amazing things. Impy was just doing the TeamSpeak Tuesdays. He had like 30 people on channel yesterday. He was having a blast.
Even though TeamSpeak was crashing.
Wait,
he
30?
kept it
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, sorry about that. It was out of our control. I have no idea. But anyways, I just want to say thank you to everyone, our community, our staff members for supporting us, and you guys, the audience members and the followers of NGNG. You guys are amazing. And again, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, make sure to head over to our forums, register, be a part of that community. We finally have the forums and website we were talking about for 6 freaking months. Utilize it, abuse it, love it, touch it.
This is where you can get in one-on-one conversations with the crew from NGNG. These are the only forums that I'm going to be active in, and I know that everybody else in the crew is active. So come there, discuss with us. Let's have fun, talk amongst ourselves.
With us. And you may even see a picture of the beard every once in a while. I don't know.
Maybe.
Beard makes an appearance. Anyways, guys, this was your local No Guts, No Galaxy Mechwarrior podcast. We hope you enjoyed tonight's show. This is Phil.
This is Darren.
This is Brandon, also known as Catcher Kel.
This is Laura.
This is Greg.
This is Phil. Oh, wait, I wasn't supposed to say that.
Oh.
This is George.
Until next time, Mech Warriors.